Buildings in Cambodia where the lights don't really go off. Rows of desks, rows of phones, people forced to speak in a language they barely even know to strangers that they will never meet, convincing them to invest, to transfer money, to trust. And if the person at the desk refuses, if they can't hit a quota, the consequences aren't a simple performance review. They're violence.
It's a trafficking model connected to a fraud model, and the fraud model is built to scale.
Amnesty International says it's identified at least 53 scamming compounds in Cambodia where abuses have taken place or continue to still take place, including human trafficking, forced labor, child labor, torture, and other ill treatment, deprivation of liberty, and fucking slavery all in one.
Jeez, dude, 53? It's like compounds. I'm assuming it's not like a fucking house where they have like 3 people working a fucking Motorola fucking razors.
No, it's like old apartment buildings that they take over, or buildings that had started being under construction, being made, and then, something happened, quote unquote, that made it where they're now abandoned.
And now just filled with slaves.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the videos and shit out there is extremely fucked up. Like, you can find out some info on them, but there's a couple videos of the torture that they do to these kids, and it's absolutely fucking terrible. It's leaked from guards that used to work there. But on that note, welcome back, everybody, to Tales from Helheim. Today's episode is a full deep dive on Cambodia's scam compound trafficking, or what people call cyber slavery, and the global fraud type most associated with it, which is pig butchering.
Also called How to Ruin Someone's Life from a Laptop, because that's basically what this is.
One note on language. Interpol has urged media and law enforcement to stop using pig butchering because it shames and dehumanizes the victims. It can discourage reporting. They recommend alternatives like romance baiting or investment scams.
We'll use the common term briefly for clarity, but we'll treat the victims like humans, not punchlines. So again, the type is pig butchering, but that just leads into the fucked up thing that this is, and it's kind of like a machine. So let's define the machine. A scam compound is more often than not a guarded complex, sometimes a casino hotel, a sealed residential block, or repurposed commercial property, which is most of the ones I saw, where people are forced to run online scams under threats and punishment.
It's kind of like an operations center. You have your recruitment teams, the lead generation, the openers who start the conversations, the closers who push payments, a fake customer service layer, and money movement staff. There's a division of labor that shows how it scales.
Yeah, so it's not just some random guy in a hoodie. It's literally a factory.
It's a full operation.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible. The UN Human Rights Office has actually said that hundreds of thousands across Southeast Asia have been trafficked into online scam operations, and they cited credible estimates of around, I think it's like 100,000 in Cambodia alone. It's crazy.
An insane amount of people.
Oh, yeah. That's fucking crazy.
Well, and the worst part is, some of the tortures that they do is, one of them is they'll put them in barrels and handcuff their arms up so they can't get out, and they'll fill those barrels with water up to their chest, and then they'll electrocute the water 3 times daily if they don't meet quota. And these are kids that they're doing it to. Well, I mean, anyone they have under their control, but primarily it's children.
Dude, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's not something you think about often. And a lot of these are those texts that you'll get where it's, oh, hey, Julie, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, no, wrong number. And then they sit and try and talk to you.
Yeah.
It's those are majority of what these are. Now to kind of get into the how. So let's talk about the pipeline. So the pipeline often starts with a simple job ad.
Right. Like customer support, IT, marketing, translation, casino work, data entry. The pitch is just going to be wages, housing, travel handled, but the reality is confinement.
And once you're there, it basically just flips on you.
Yeah, they've documented some patterns, which includes passports being taken, invented debts, movement restrictions, threats, and a lot of violence. Amnesty's report actually describes victims being treated like property and held in conditions amounting to slavery and forced labor.
I've seen a lot of stories where people cross country lines, and like one of the first moves is they take your passport, so you're stuck there. And then they'll give you like a living expense that they'll exorbitantly inflate, so you have a racked up debt. And then you can't leave. It's operational coercion. It moves into quotas and punishments, and sometimes being sold to other compounds. It's being transferred like inventory. You're not a person anymore. You're just an item.
Yeah. So at that point, man, you're just pretty much a victim, and then you're forced to victimize others. It's just terrible, dude.
Feeding the machine.
Yeah, and if you don't, you're not going to like the consequences, which could be up to death. Now, again, to mention the phrase, I apologize, but what pig butchering is, which, is what we'll call a scam playbook. So now we're getting into the fraud.
Pig butchering is a long con investment scam. The scammer builds trust. Sometimes it will be through romance, and then funnels the target into an investment platform. It's fake or controlled. Deposits look like they grow. Withdrawals get blocked. The victim gets pressured to pay more to unlock funds.
So the FBI describes this as cryptocurrency investment fraud and does note Operation Level Up launched January 2024 to proactively identify and notify victims to prevent further loss.
You know what the sick part about this is? The scam is designed to make it feel like you're loved or a mentorship or kind of like destiny. So yeah, dude, it's a trap.
Then it's engineered psychologically. It's frequent contact, future planning, exclusive strategy language, fake proof like screenshots and dashboards are provided, and then a controlled environment where the scammer manages the victim's doubts.
It's all a well-oiled machine that Interpol says the term pig butchering itself can worsen shame and keep victims from coming forward, which we urge you to not do.
I mean, there's stuff like that in the US too, where, your lonely mother will get scammed by some handsome foreign person, and they start sending money. And then by the time like they're thousands and thousands paid out, they're too embarrassed to say anything. And then it just ruins lives.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that here, thankfully isn't on the level that it is in other countries, but it's something that needs to be brought more into light and be able to have some hope of possibly getting dealt with. Now, some of you may ask, why does it seem like Cambodia is the major hub? Well, Cambodia shows up repeatedly in investigations because of concentration of scam compounds and a broader ecosystem that can support them. I mean, they have a ton of real estate, casinos, cross-border recruitment routes, and even money movement channels. It's a plethora there.
And because it isn't isolated, the UNODC describes the Mekong region cyber fraud industry reaching an inflection point, with organized crime groups expanding beyond the region as pressure is increasing.
Yeah. Now, UNODC frames scam centers as having global implications, not just local crime, and warns about rapid adaptation and spillover.
I mean, yeah, it's, for lack of a better way of putting it, it's a successful built business model. And, any organized group that has the resources, they could easily copy this and spread it.
Yeah, that's something that we don't want. Now, inside the compound, there are some documented cases of abuse, but this is the part where the word cyber stops sounding kind of abstract Amnesty documents a pattern of abuse, trafficking, forced labor, child labor, deprivation of liberty, torture, and other ill treatment and conditions that it describes as slavery happening inside these compounds. And one of the other ones that I didn't mention was there was a kid that didn't meet the quota and they handcuffed him, started kicking the shit out of him in the face, in the body, anywhere. And then when he collapsed over, they got what would be their version of a cattle prod, pulled his pants down, tried shoving it up his ass and pulling, I don't know if you want to call it the trigger, pushing the button, but engaging the mechanism to start using that as the stunning weapon that it is.
Yeah,
that's beyond brutal.
That's just fucking terrible right there, man. It's abuse. It's disgusting. If you're listening, like, why don't they just run? You're probably thinking like someone who still has choices. You don't get that option.
Controls can include guards, locked doors, surveillance, withheld documents, threats to family, violence. Coercion is central to how trafficking, forge scamming works.
Yeah, and these guys are good at it. Like I said, they have armed guards. They will beat you. They will hurt you. They will starve you. Like, it's from what I've gathered in a lot of other information as well, is that it's typically run by Chinese mafia. So that definitely doesn't help with the brutality and the torture.
And the established networks people like the mafia already have.
Yeah, very true. They have a plethora of channels.
The resources that they have is unimaginable.
Oh, yeah. They have plenty of reach. Hopefully, on a good note, Cambodia has announced crackdowns and raids at various times in 2025. Reporting described a large crackdown with over 1,000 arrests in a short window. Later, the totals ended up exceeding 2,000 in a multi-week campaign, including many foreign nationals.
That's the thing, though. Arrests don't automatically mean the network collapses.
Right. Large-scale scamming can reconstitute quickly unless leadership, finances, and enabling infrastructure are disrupted. So you can take out a couple people, but you have to kill everything from the root to get rid of something like this because it's so well embedded.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are definitely not wrong there. And one of the biggest issues is because money movement is the bloodstream there, that doesn't help with these facts at all. Like in October 2025, the U.S. Treasury described a massive coordinated action with the UK, and they actually called it the largest action ever, targeting a Southeast Asia cybercriminal network, and highlighted measures focused on laundering infrastructure.
Translation, the money pipe matters as much as the scam floors.
Yeah, if only we could take it all away from these asshats, because they don't deserve any bit of it. Imagine the shit the poor kids have to go through just repeatedly building up trust and talking to people for months at a time, and, you know, having to pull on their chain and kind of keep them focused and scammed like that. That's no fun. No fun at all, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But there are some big name cases. So in September of 2024, the U.S. Treasury's OFAC sanctioned Cambodian businessman Lee Yong-Fat, his conglomerate, and multiple properties. The Treasury said the action related to serious human rights abuse tied to trafficked workers subjugated to forced labor in online scam centers.
Sanctions aren't a criminal conviction, but they are an official designation with legal consequences.
And it signals this isn't rumor. Governments are naming names.
I wonder how deep it goes, though. Like, how much the government can actually get out. Like, is it people that have crossed the government that they decide to out? Or is there like an actual like a fronted force that's tackling this?
I would say it can honestly be a bit of both. Unfortunately, when it gets to things of this nature, a lot of times the country's government is just as fucking corrupt as the criminals that are running the enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought there. With, you know, organizations like this that are so beyond corrupt, is it really like a force that's working towards this, or is it just getting rid of rivals in the same industry?
I would say more than likely getting rid of rivals
Yeah, I could see that.
for sure.
Just pretty much whoever's the highest bidder will get protection from the government, and we'll take out the smaller kind of competition areas. And I mean, it's terrible, but it makes sense. I understand what's going on there, but at the same time, it's despicable and it's deplorable that it even goes that deep.
Oh, I agree. And that's why hearing about the DOJ indictment of Prince Group chairman in 2025 was a great one. So, in October of 2025, the U.S. Department of Justice announced an indictment of Chen Ji, and I could be saying that wrong, my apologies, described as chairman of Prince Group, alleging that he operated Cambodian forced labor scam compounds and ran cryptocurrency investment fraud schemes, the kind often called and referred to as, again, my apologies, pig butchering.
Coverage described a U.S. seizure action involving more than $14 billion in Bitcoin in connection with the case and alleged forced labor conditions in compounds used to run the fraud.
Damn.
$14 billion.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
bonkers.
Fucking A.
Yeah, man, the number's so big and it stops feeling real until you remember this is made out of thousands of people's savings.
And the
Thousands of people's
destruction.
savings, hundreds of thousands of people's lives.
Yeah.
All destroyed for basic fucking greed. Not even necessity, just fucking greed. And now, I don't mean there's anything that would make that necessary, but there's some countries where conditions are so bad, people have to do whatever they can to survive. But
No, not at all.
this isn't one of those situations. Now, another interesting event was in September 2025, the Treasury also announced sanctions targeting Southeast Asian networks tied to digital asset investment scams and laundering nodes. It seems like that area cannot and will not catch a break. But reporting in late 2025 described trafficking victims trapped in Cambodian scam compounds during border shelling. And it described that some people were unable to flee even as the bombs fell.
Jeez, dude. That's the perfect image of this whole crisis. Even war doesn't stop the quotas.
No, could you imagine that? Oh God, bombs are coming down and
They're like, you better not fucking move.
going off within 10 feet of us.
You better fucking get your quotas down.
Yeah, well, you can.
That's
Yeah, you can either die to a brief, quick explosion, or we can torture you to death over a week.
It's not really a good choice there.
No, it's a real lose-lose.
No, yeah, there is no winner in this unfortunate shenanigan or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But it's nuts, and really, it's not just one victim. It's a 2-victim thing. There are 2 victim streams.
Yeah, the targets victims online losing their money. Sometimes it's life savings. Stuff you work for your entire life just gets sapped away. And then there's the victims in the compounds that lose their freedom, their safety, their lives. They're forced into crimes under threat. They're forced into committing evil.
And that's why this isn't just a scam episode. It's a trafficking episode. It's to bring awareness to what's going on. Because a lot of the time what we see is what's been filtered for us. We only get to see like, oh, the good times, this, and this. And unless you really dig deep in and you get to see what's going on, that's why we're trying to help get this information out so people know the real threats behind this.
There are a couple ways you can protect yourself. So there's red flags you can look out for. A stranger contacting you and quickly becoming emotionally intense. They'll pivot to investing or crypto. They'll direct you to a specific platform you've never heard of. They'll make your profits look perfect, and then your withdrawals will get blocked unless you pay more.
Now remember, Operation Level Up exists because people often don't realize they're being defrauded until it's too late. Now, unfortunately, oftentimes people don't realize what's going on until it is way too late. And then, as you were saying, they feel ashamed and say nothing about it, and this gets swept under the rug. And that's why proactive notifications can prevent further losses.
And if you're already in it, stop sending money. Save everything, tell someone you trust. Shame is how these scams keep you silent.
It's an unfortunate thing, but that's why we dig into the unfortunate depths of human reality. So you guys that just want to hear about it, but not necessarily want to see it, can have that freedom. Because some of the shit that you see when doing research for some of these topics can get quite a bit dark.
Yeah, really get under your skin.
I mean, you know, being parents, I think we can all agree that anything that has to do with kids is significantly more fucked up. Now, these scam compounds are truly a modern horror, a prison built out of Wi-Fi and a business model built out of human suffering.
If you got targeted, it doesn't mean you're stupid. It means the system is designed to beat normal caution.
And if you're hearing Cambodia cyber slaves and thinking it's exaggeration, read what major NGOs and the UN Human Rights Office have put out on record.
Now, next time, maybe we'll be able to do a step-by-step victim case timeline or even a money trail episode on laundering nodes and why disrupting finance matters. But until then, always protect your people. And if a wrong number turns into crypto advice,
It's not fate, it's a factory.